Hi, my name is Steph, and this is my senior moment. The first time I ever performed something without forgetting a line, stumbling, or making what I consider to be a mistake was when I did a spoken word poem on this stage at the Fall Talent Show my junior year. I was absolutely terrified. I found that not many people really knew what spoken word poetry was, and I hadn't seen any other student at Derryfield do it before, so I wasn't sure how it was going to be received. I was shocked that people responded positively, but at the time, I didn't know what I had gotten myself into. After that, I was pegged as the poetry girl. If I ever sounded remotely opinionated on anything at all, the common response was, "You should write a poem about it." If someone walked in on a friend and me in a room, they'd always ask if I was about to perform a poem. And if I ever dared up to stand up on the soccer team and say something motivational, there was always someone who'd introduce it with, "Shh, guys, she's about to say something poetic." Don't get me wrong, I was overjoyed and still am about the fact that other people liked listening to what I love to create. But the label was almost defeating. I was inseparable from it, and it felt as if poetry girl was all I was. People forgot that I could do other things, that I had other interests, that I wasn't serious all the time. I was beginning to think that I would just have to accept it and wear the label forever, or just the rest of high school, which feels like forever when you're here. But then, over the summer, I wrote my first song and I had an idea. I wanted to see how well I could switch the label. I was done with poetry girl and would have happily taken something like music kid, anything, something different. After performing a few songs up here, I noticed that it was working. When I mentioned to my friends that I was doing something at assembly, they would ask, "Are you doing a song?" instead of, "Are you doing a poem?" It didn't even matter to me whether people thought I was good or not. I was ecstatic to be known for something new. Then I started performing music at places other than Derryfield. The first time was at a songwriting competition in Suncook, where I met another contestant named Dan. I talked to him a few times before the competition started, and he treated me as he seemed to treat everyone else, pretty dismissively. He didn't seem to want to hear what I had to say, nor did he think that I was anyone of much importance. Immediately after I performed, however, he approached me to say that he really enjoyed my songs. For the rest of the night, if he and I were in the same conversation, he would listen intently when I spoke, and he looked at me as if I was someone worth looking at. I started to think, nothing personal against Dan, but that's not fair. Why treat me differently after hearing me sing? This whole situation sparked a memory from the first performance of that one poem junior year. I suddenly had a flashback to the morning after when my phone was blowing up with notifications. There were kind messages from close friends and surprising congratulations from acquaintances, but there was also a series of pop-ups that told me several hot senior boys from the soccer team were now following me on Twitter, Instagram, and had accepted the Facebook friend request that I had forgotten I even sent. After mulling it over, I came to understand why I thought it was so unfair for people to switch from dismissive and almost rude attitudes to interested ones, with the performance being all that was in between. I realized that in my mind, I was placing more value on the thoughts behind the art rather than the art itself. In other words, the song or the poem or whatever it may be is only the medium through which someone communicates their perspective. It is not their actual perspective. The way that someone sees the world is independent of the expression of how they see the world. And there are plenty of people who see the world in incredible ways, but haven't necessarily figured out how to express it yet. In this light, I have learned two things. One, the label doesn't matter anymore. Music Kid and Poetry Girl will both be performing at the concert here on Friday, and who would have known that they can peacefully coexist? Whatever title anyone uses will not diminish the part that is so much more important to me, which is just the way I see things. And two, all I'm saying is you shouldn't have to see someone's talent before you follow them back on Twitter. Everyone should be treated as if they have their own special perspective because they do, and just because someone doesn't communicate it doesn't mean that it's any less amazing. There have been plenty of people who have influenced the way that I see the world, and I can't ever thank them enough, but I'd like to try right now. To the girl with the Crayola box mind, forget metaphors and checklists and fitting into things, because you are what you are and you are beautiful. You can choose to be utterly idealistic or realistically cynical, and either way you'll break the box. To the boy who shares my 5%, sorry for all the unnecessary apologies. I hope you always drive safe and listen to good music. To the girl who I love dearly, thank you for always warning me before I'm about to open the fire door. You have saved me more times than I can count, but everyone gets hurt, and when you do, just remember that Vienna is waiting. To the boy who's always behind the red curtain, you can somehow still see the skyline when you're at the bottom of an ocean. I hope you are alive for the day the world ends, and I hope it ruins you. To the girl who knows what the darkest shade of blue looks like, Although much more diplomatic and much less dramatic, you are Ellen every time. I hope there are dream catchers everywhere you go. To the boy who showed me Israfel, live long and prosper. I wish you all the luck in the world on your 75th notebook. I'll see you in Boston someday. To the girl who knows words are like stones, you mean more to me than you know. My jewelry box is always open for you. Lastly, to the one who said I am the okayest person they've met, you are one of the only reasons I actually believe in myself. And to the room full of people I'm addressing at this very moment, faculty, students, friends, anyone, everyone has something to say, and it matters before you say it and after you say it. Once you figure out how to say it, though, I promise I'll retweet. Thank you.